Live at 20.
Welcome into Upon Further Review, a Sunday night live version. And joining us, as always, is my friend and colleague, Mr. Eric Doot Dukevich, here on the live stream. And bear with us, even though we've done this for a couple of years, we're still rookies at a true live scenario. But a lot of things happening in the sports world today, as everything that just happens to culminate around Thanksgiving and the first of the Christmas holidays as we get going here. Coaching changes, firings, state championships, just your normal weekend. And oh, by the way, congratulations, you got COVID a week ago today, as a matter of fact. But I am the coach, Shannon Griffith, alongside Eric Dukevich. Welcome to a special edition of Upon Further Review, recapping the state finals where the Fort Wayne area really rejoices in 2 state championships, bringing back home to the 260. Eric, a little ironic that the 2 that bring the state championship back to the 260, or Fort Wayne proper, I should say, are the 2 co-champions of the Summit Athletic Conference of the 2 different divisions. And I find that kind of a little bit ironic and a little bit of poetic justice at the same time. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, irony, perhaps. You can call it irony, which is the opposite of what you think would happen. Of course, I called this all year long. So, no, but seriously, what a great state finals weekend for the 260. We had 3 teams down there representing with Snider, Bishop Luers, and Adams Central. Luers and Snider get the job done and win a state title. Adams Central just comes up a little bit short in their bid against Indianapolis Lutheran for the 3rd straight year. So all in all, a good day for Fort Wayne. And, I will put it this way, and I'll leave it at this. When Lucas Oil Stadium and the IHSAA are turning the lights off of the stadium while the Fort Wayne media is interviewing the Snider State Championship coach, it's a good day for Fort Wayne. I will leave it at that on this podcast. But congrats to all of those teams and the kids who have done great all year long. Lots to celebrate. And we'll be celebrating all of that tonight, Coach, with this season wrap-up show.
Yeah, we thought it would be kind of nice to do something a little bit unique than normally what we do in terms of bringing you our normal previews and recaps as it pertains to the Summit Athletic Conference, Northeast Indiana football, by really talking tonight on 3 different approach interviews in some respects. We're gonna segue here shortly into the DeKalb County Unified football team, something that's been talked about. You've seen maybe here and there, and not kind of wondering what that is all about. Well, we thought, why not we bring on the coaches? Now, this is interesting. Husband, wife coaches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dynamic. Yeah. To give us a little understanding of what that is all about. And then, of course, we'll have Snider High School's offensive lineman, Air Force commit Ethan Dodson, coming on to talk about the state tourney, but also his senior season. Is it, what a way to recap it than putting an explanation point on his senior season by getting a state championship. And then, of course, Isaac Zay will join us from Bishop Luers also a little bit later to talk about the Bishop Luers state championship. So all in all, more of a celebration more than anything that we get to do this tonight. And really thank you to all those coaches, players, people that get texts from us at all hours of the weekend trying to get them to come on the show, and then them agreeing to come on and do the things that we try to do, and in hopes of bringing something of quality and substance each and every week throughout the high school football season. I think tonight will be something that will give you a little bit of reflection on the season at hand, also a little bit of look at what's going on in just other aspects of football, and you have a little bit better understanding of the DeKalb Unified scenario that that's kind of taken on here over, I think it's like the last 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically in the state of Indiana now we have Unified Sports, which is a partnership between the IHSAA and the Special Olympics of Indiana, where they offer different sports for different students with different special needs. And as it turns out, as we're celebrating Snider and Luers winning state titles, Adams Central winning state runner-up, as it turns out, the DeKalb Barons unified flag football team won the state runner-up, or they were state runners-up, and that for the second year they won in 2021. So 3 straight trips to the state finals for the DeKalb unified flag football team. So we'll be joined by Carol Fickle and Fike, I should say, and Ryan Baker. They are co-coaches of the unified football team. They'll be joining us momentarily. They're also husband and wife. And do all the sports there. So it's really neat, the opportunity to kind of highlight that programming that is really growing across the state.
Right.
Woodland and bocce ball did very well. I know East Noble has a really good program. So it'll be fun to kind of learn a little bit more about that, and we'll profile that as well tonight throughout the show.
And I thought I saw something the other day with this flag football that I think they're even starting some girls teams throughout the state as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that's going to be IHSA sanctioned or not, but football is growing in every different way humanly possible. It's a great sport to have kids involved in, whether it be flag, whether it be tackle, whether it be a combination of the both. I know there's a lot of different opinions about tackle football out there, good and bad. And then of course, how does flag football fit in the equation? And I just think it's a great thing to have all this come about, with the state of football. And, I'm a big proponent of organized athletics, irregardless of, size of school or how many people or whatever that case may be. I think that's always a great thing. But, and then of course, like we talked about earlier, what can you say about Luers, Snider? Very dominating performances. My heart breaks for Adams Central though, to lose the way they have so hard fought 3 times in a row to that Indianapolis Lutheran team. And this game, hey, they made it close, a 7-point ball game. But unfortunately they came up a little short, but all in all, a pretty darn good showing down in Indianapolis this past weekend. All in all, we'll leave the discussion about lights and who paid the bill, who didn't pay the bill down there. And thanks for Justin Kennedy stepping in me on what happened Friday as I was battling COVID this past week. Wasn't able to get released to get down there and do it. And, he stepped in and do it. And then of course, Rumpy went solo yesterday for the game down there in the morning, and then had to drive all the way back by himself, which he did, I'm sure, quite well, and do the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons game last night. But I'm going to let you kind of introduce our first guest here. We'll segue into it and get a little understanding of this DeKalb Unified flag football.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're pleased to be joined. Like I said, we've highlighted lots of teams, lots of players, lots of games and matchups and championships, of course, throughout the course of the year here. And we have another area team that is really good, that has gone to the state finals for the 3rd straight year. And this year they came out as state runners-up. And we're pleased to be joined now by their coaches, Ryan Baker and Carol Pike of DeKalb Unified Barons Sports. Hi, coaches. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Good evening,
yeah,
both
we really
of you.
appreciate it. This is, we got to say, this is the first time that we've had a female coach on our show, and we've had a husband and wife co-coaches for a team. So welcome. First of all, I think and we talked about it a little bit coming in, just off the top, kind of explain what unified sports is, kind of the idea behind it, and really what that is across the state of Indiana and what you guys are doing at DeKalb High School.
You can go ahead and share that one.
We know who the head coach is already.
Like, we both look at each other. So unified sports is just kind of an opportunity for people with and without disabilities to work together on the same team. DeKalb High School offers 5 sports for our athletes and partners. So we have year-round sports. So 2 of them are IHSA sports. We have flag football and track and field, and then we do bocce, bowling, and basketball.
Sure. And then, of course, you guys, doing football. Just talk about that. I mean, that's football, obviously big in the Fort Wayne area. We had 2 teams that win state titles out of Fort Wayne. But to see DeKalb 3 years in a row to go down to the Unified Flag Football state finals, you won in 2021, I believe. The last 2 years, state runner-up. Just talk about the excitement and the growth of that program over the last couple of years.
It's really just been awesome to see it grow. Our first 2 years we lost first round of sectionals, and then we just had a big boom in recruitment. The year that we won state was just awesome to see all of the kids join the team that ended up joining, and then just seeing it go from being a small sport to now we have kids that are on our basketball team. Kids that play soccer, things like that. Just getting a lot of kids coming in and joining the program made it awesome. And that's what started it out. So one kid recruits 5 other kids, and next thing you know, we go from a team of 10 to 30, and we got a lot of good athletes.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to get ready to say here. Now, first, before we go on, Carol, if I'm understanding correctly, you're a Manchester University graduate, correct?
Correct.
What years were you at Manchester? Because you're going to age me now, since I was there from 2003 through last year. But
I graduated in 2010.
2010. Okay. Well, I'm a little, makes me feel even older. But anyway. Tell me about, playing competitive sports is one thing, okay, with the flags and everything that goes in there, because everybody's competitive in their own way and right. But ultimately, you're achieving more so than just the competitive edge as well. Explain some of the other secondary goals of why, the flag football there in DeKalb and what that brings to the table for these kids outside of just playing a competitive sport, but what else it brings to them in terms of their overall development as kids.
It really gives everyone a sense of belonging. It's kids who would not have the opportunity to do what they're doing, is playing in a IHSA sport with, the kids who are, the captain of the basketball team or the starting pitcher of the baseball team. So that's where it's just nice to see everyone comes together. They all act as a family, and, it is really competitive. Both of our partners and athletes, both, they make it really competitive to the point where they don't want to come out of the game, or there's kids who don't want to go in the game because they're like, they're like, oh, the game's closed. Why are you putting me in? And that's where it gets tough. It's like, okay, well, this kid really wants to win, but it's the regular season. We want to get everybody playing time because everyone puts in equally hard work during practice, and that's one of our major rules is during the regular season, everybody gets to play. Wins and losses, that matters at sectionals and regionals and so on for these kids, but regular season, we want to get everybody in the game.
How many kids did you have out this year for your program?
20.
Now, is that freshman through senior year in class, or what is the age limits in this regard? Freshman through senior?
Yeah. So everyone can join gets 4 years of eligibility. Now, athletes who are your students that have the intellectual disabilities, who have IEPs, who can stay in school until their 22nd birthday, they can actually stay in the program until their last day of school.
Okay.
So if we have a kid who's 21 years old, he wouldn't be able to play. He wouldn't be able to play baseball, football, anything like that. But unified sports, if he's eligible as an athlete, then he can stay on the team.
And talk about parent involvement. How has that been for you guys in terms of, you've started a program now, it's grown in terms of numbers and such, and moms and dads ultimately love to be involved in things of this nature, especially with their kids. How has that been so far there for you guys?
Oh, our parents are amazing. Like, I literally can post something on Sports U, which is like the way we communicate, and like parents will like respond immediately, or it's, hey, we need water for the game on Saturday. Or a perfect example is like sectionals are like one of our star players really needed a Gatorade, and he couldn't find his dad, so we looked at one of the other dads and they went and got him a Gatorade. So I mean, like, they ultimately just take care of each other, and it's just awesome to watch them interact. And like our parents were amazing. They drove all the way to South Bend, all the way to Indy to watch us play. I'm pretty sure we had one of the biggest cheering sections.
What and then last question here, dude, as I monopolize time again here. Imagine that. Okay. Talk about your season, kind of, when does it start? And I know it runs through a certain date, and then following up after that is kind of when do you start getting back into full swing of it for next year? But go ahead and talk about your season in general, start, finish, and then.
So we started this year was the last week of July. And we start when everybody else starts. So we run a full length season, pretty much all of August, all of September, and then most of October. And the majority of the kids on our team will do, they'll do unified flag football, but they'll also do unified basketball, unified bowling, and then unified track. So we're with these kids, from the end of July through the beginning of June. So we have these kids for, pretty much 11 months out of the year, 10 months out of the year.
And they get mad when we take a week off.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. So, and I know a lot of times you kind of touched on it earlier. Some of the other kids, from the other sports also participate to kind of help. Mentors, perhaps, the word I'm looking for. That aspect of it. Just talk about how that all works and really how that has been fulfilled at DeKalb High School as well.
I'll let you take that one.
I mean, this year is the first year we had team captains. So that was really cool just to see the kids step up and kind of be leaders in their own right.
Sure.
Yeah. What else do you want to add?
The athlete.
Oh, and we do have a student leadership committee that kind of plans different things that they want to do, which is one of the pillars of the Champions Together program. So our kids actually right now are gathering gifts for a local group home, and they're really excited about that. They made like a little Amazon wish list that they were super excited about. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now, maybe somebody's watching this tonight or down the line and say, I have a student with special needs that, man, getting involved in unified sports may be something that I'd like to, my kid might want to do. There's different schools. Your guys are DeKalb, but schools throughout the state are doing this. What is kind of the way of kind of getting involved and encouraging kids to kind of come out and try something different, particularly in the unified sports world? What message would you guys have as far as getting involved and how to do that?
I think it's just, something that everyone should do. So if you're a student who's not doing any sport, regardless of if you're a student with or without with or without a disability, you should definitely just join, find your unified sports coordinator or whoever the coaches are at the schools and just go out and join the team. It's just a fantastic experience that, it's serving for everyone. So everyone gets something out of it, and it's just an awesome thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I think if you can find like a special ed teacher, they'll usually be able to know what's going on. Like, because it's something like I know we have a kid that's now a junior that missed playing his freshman year because he didn't know about it until it was too late to join. So I definitely say look for announcements, or if it's something you're interested in, like go and talk to the special ed teacher and say, hey, do we have a program like this? Because I know we have like a little best buddies program during the day also, or like during the school day. So I mean, there are ways to be involved without doing like a sport outside of school.
Absolutely. Well, and certainly IHSA has a lot of great resources, Special Olympics of Indiana. So, you can go on and search those sites and find more information, and obviously check in with your school's athletic department. Well, Ryan and Carol, we appreciate you joining us tonight here on Upon Further Review and our season wrap-up show. Congratulations to you and the DeKalb Unified Barons for coming out as state runners-up in unified flag football, and we wish that you, the guys, the best in the future with that program, and it's great to see you guys representing Northeast Indiana in such a good way down there at the state finals.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Have a good evening, guys.
Good to meet you. We'll take care. That was Ryan Baker and Carol Pike from DeKalb Unified Football. They were the state runners-up, co-coaches, husband and wife. Great to have them on, and just another great example of the athletic promise that we have here in Northeast Indiana, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm a firm believer that athletics has a lot of valuable things that can teach some life lessons to kids, and it doesn't matter whether it's tackle sports or something like flag football. They all have their value in what they bring to the table outside the classroom, but if making sure that everything is still within the educational sphere of things. But I think there's a lot of life lessons that can be taught through athletic competition.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll move on. The show keeps rolling. We're celebrating our teams and their state finals trips this week. And now we move on to some of the state champions from our area. A big one on Friday night, Coach. I was down there as an alum, as a member of the media, as a PSM partner employee with Fort Wayne Community Schools and Snider High School. And it was exciting to see Snider win this state title. It was close in the beginning, and to join us now to talk about all about it is Ethan Dodson, the offensive lineman from Snider. Ethan, congratulations, first of all. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be on this podcast, which I watch every Wednesday.
Well, we appreciate it. And you're joining us live tonight, too. So,
so don't mess up. Can't edit.
The messaging that you put out, and thanks
Can't
for
edit it.
Yeah, so so keep that in mind, though. But all seriousness, Friday night. I mean, I talked to you back at night and all week long. What was that like for you to wrap up your high school career with a state championship with the Snider Panthers?
It was everything, especially since this was what the seniors wanted at the beginning of our senior year, and it's what we planned on for 4 years playing at Snider. It's just a goal we set at the beginning of the senior years. We said, we're going to get this done. And we asked Coach Tip, how are we going to get this done? And so he led us through on how we need to get it done. And step by step, game by game, we fought our way here. And just to be at Lucas Oil Stadium was amazing. And then to win it was even better.
Yeah. So it was nip and tuck in that first half. I think it was 7-6 at halftime. Guys kind of left some points on the board there. The turnaround in the second half, what was it for this team that you guys kind of came out full steam ahead, guns a-blazing in the second half of this game?
It really wasn't anything special. It was just Coach Tip walked in. He mentioned in pregame that we were going to have our ups, we were going to have our downs. It was how are we going to respond in the second half? And so the seniors looked at each other, smiled at each other, and said, let's go get the job done. And so it didn't take Superman making plays. It was just a group team effort overall.
Sure. For you, go ahead, Coach. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, here's what I was going to say here, because you brought up a good point, Eric. It was a tight ball game there up through the half, and it was kind of just two teams kind of feeling themselves out. A lot of it was just because unfamiliarity with it all. But in the second half, you guys said you finished up the night with 253 yards rushing, 327 of total yards total. Decatur Central, who's a team that basically had thrown for a ton of yards through the year, only had 167. So defense really dominated and played complementary football with the offense. And what I mean by that, when you're playing complementary football, your defense is getting the 3 and outs. The offense is going out and utilizing the run game to not only kill clock, but to get the big runs. Uriah had 2 of them, one of 80 and one of 95. The 95 may have been the longest play from scrimmage in the state finals. Now, the person that I think that held that honor was Von Dunbar from Snider back in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. 86. Okay.
Yeah.
Even I'm dating this.
And I don't know I'd have to pull up the official numbers, but because they were saying 94.
It was 96. The 96 yards. Uriah was 1 yard short.
Okay.
So he ran 95. The record was 96, and he also 1998 yards on the season. I don't know.
That was crazy.
2 yards short of 2000.
But those 2 plays are basic your bread and butter plays. I would say, kind of a power run game type of deal. When you guys looked at Decatur Central up front, they defensively, they had some pretty big boys up front, kind of like what Maryville had the week before.
Absolutely. It was one of those, the hardest part about going into that week was we didn't play any common opponents. So Scout was a little harder than it usually was. However, they had we knew their size and we prepared the best we could with the Scout team that we had.
And what did you guys do leading up to the state tourney? I think sometimes people are interested to see, you play a game on Friday, you got Thanksgiving on Thursday. It's a short week in terms of everything that goes around it. You just beat Maryville 28-0. You basically have a day off and you're right back into it in theory. Talk about last week and kind of what was the preparation like leading up to the game time Friday night?
Yeah, absolutely. Last week was just an out of the ordinary week. And Coach Tip told us after we beat Maryville, it's going to be weird because the schedule is going to be all over the place. We're going to have fall break. School's going to be out. And so the seniors had to make sure that the young guys came with them and we are going to win a state championship. And even if we have to, we practiced at Empowered all week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we went to Indy, but Thursday, even on Thanksgiving, that morning, everybody came in and we practiced that morning and we made sure we didn't miss a beat. We were on task all the time. And even with the limited space we had, we utilized it as much as we can.
So you guys practice over at the Dome facility there off of, what is that? Lima Road and area. Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually had a little Thanksgiving practice. Most people are playing backyard football on Thanksgiving. You guys decided to go out and have a practice on Thursday. So for you guys, it was pretty much a normal schedule other than the times that maybe you practiced at.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, you guys went down to the Dome.
Yep.
Is that what it was in practice?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess the last thing question I have here for you is, once you get to that point and you kind of realize this is going to fall in your favor, kind of what's that feeling sinking in, because you guys built yourself up a pretty good lead. I'm sure Coach Tippmann was talking about not letting the foot up off the gas pedal, but what was the feeling like when you kind of sense that, you guys are going to get this accomplished?
I believe that the feeling sank in the last touchdown where Uriah ran it in to put it up 33-6 is the O-line sat down on the bench and we just let it all sink in that our last senior game, we were going to come out on top, which is what we wanted. And so it wasn't, nobody, probably people cried, but I didn't cry. The O-line didn't cry because this is what we wanted. And we knew that.
Coach Ike wouldn't let you cry.
No, sir. And so we were all excited and happy for each other because this is what we wanted. And this is how we wanted to go out and be remembered as a high school team.
Right. Absolutely. And And then Eric, and then after this, you can take over here again. Talk about your future plans, because if I'm not mistaken, now you've got a commitment to the Air Force Academy. Is that correct? And
Yes,
you've got that appointment coming. What led you to want to go to one of the service academies? Because that in itself is a unique opportunity. Not every kid wants to do that because of the commitment that it requires. But talk about that. What led up to you wanting to do and go that route?
So going in after my junior season ended against Valparaiso, we kind of took a step back. I went into wrestling, so I didn't go into the whole recruitment process yet. But I remember I met Coach Knorr, who's the defensive coordinator for Air Force Academy. And so I met him when he visited the school, and he and I talked a little bit about everything. And so after I met him, I started looking at the Air Force Academy. I went, okay, how is this team doing? What is it like there? About 2 months later, that was my first offer, first D1 offer. And so in late June, my mother and I visited the Air Force Academy. And just from day one, when we met the coaches, we met the players, the coaches knew they wanted me. It felt like they wanted me to be there. And it was just an amazing time I had down there. They showed me everything, the benefits you can have, especially after you serve, the benefits of the education, the benefits after you can get a job right out of college. And so we looked at what could set me up the best after college and make sure I have a job and have a stable future outside of college, whether it be if I wanted to go turn pro or I didn't want to turn pro and just go into the working field, how would that work? And so Air Force just seemed to check off every marker. And I looked around, I told my mom, I think the second day I was there, and I said, I want to be here. And so it was one of those. From that day, I said, I'm committed. Let's go.
Absolutely. And it is a grind. I mean, it's service to the nation as well. The process of getting through it. I know it. And that's a testament to you and the student you are as well. And all of that. Ethan, I noticed behind you, the two towels for the Snider. Your brother was on the team too. He's a younger up and coming quarterback. You will not see him playing offensive line, but
No.
The opportunity to play with your brother this last year, to win a state championship, 2 state champions in the household. I mean, what does playing Snider football mean for you and your family, and now to be called state champions along with that?
Oh, it means everything, especially since I moved here from New Mexico about 4 years ago. And so I went to my 8th grade year, I went to Jefferson Middle School. And so we really didn't know the high schools. We really didn't know where to go. And so I saw one game of Snider. I can't remember who it was against, but I saw one game of Snider. I saw Coach Tip on the sideline fired up. I saw Coach Ike, and I told my parents, I said, let's go here, because I want to go to a program where I can win. I can get recruited and go to college, hopefully, to play. And so I went to Snider, and everything just took off. I mean, the recruitment, my O-line brothers, I met them there. I've met my best friends. I mean, my backup, Aiden Igney, shout out to him. He is also my backup in wrestling. And so he and I have known each other for 4 years, and we're as close as brothers. And I love him to death, and I love all my own linemen to death. And so Snider football just means everything to me, from what it's given me and the opportunities it's given me, coming up. And it was
absolutely,
yeah. And it was also.
What are you going to study before you let you go, Ethan? Yeah. What are you wanting to study at the academy?
I haven't quite figured it out yet. Before the Air Force Academy and we visited, I was planning to go into the medical program, go medical, become a registered nurse or a doctor. My mom is a nurse practitioner for Lutheran Health, and so the medical field has always interested me. So maybe while I'm at Air Force, it won't be a medical degree. Maybe have a degree in economics or something that'll get me a job that I can utilize. And then maybe later on after commission, I go into the medical field. But right now at the Air Force Academy, I don't really know what I want to do yet.
I thought maybe flying a plane, that'd be kind of cool.
That has been a thought that's crossed my mind, and it does sound pretty cool to do that.
Yeah. Well, Ethan, we appreciate you coming on tonight and joining us. We're grateful for you to come. I know it's been a busy weekend for you with Thanksgiving and the state championship and getting back to school tomorrow. But we appreciate it. Congratulations on the state championship to you and all your Snider Panther teammates. And best of luck at the Air Force, and best of luck this wrestling season. That's next for you, a big one for you as a senior.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. It is such an honor to be on here.
All right, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ethan. Good luck with wrestling, buddy.
Thank you.
That was Ethan Dodson, the offensive lineman from Snider High School. You couldn't quite see it behind the camera, but I'm pretty sure it was a case for him. 6'4", 280 pounds, coach. So 4.02 GPA. A really good student, really good athlete. I believe he does shot put and track or throw.
Yeah, he's three-sport guy.
Three-sport guy, headed to the Air Force, state champion at the end of the weekend. That's great for him and his family. So
yeah, and another thing that we need to recognize from Snider for winning the Mental Altitude Award, Jake Tittman.
Absolutely.
Great honor of winning the Mental Altitude Award, Phil Askew Mental Altitude Award there at the state championship. Number one in his class. I think he's got like a 4.8. I don't know how you can do that on a 4.0 scale, but
AP classes.
yeah, I guess
whatever those are, right?
And I understand that he's going on to study some type of engineering. I think mechanical engineering, but just a great honor for not only the Snider High School as a whole with the football program winning the state championship, but the honor that Jake Tittman got for winning the Phil Askew Mental Altitude Award winner. That's another top award given out down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Great for him and great his family. Kurt was there with the mom, and they welcomed him, and it was celebratory. Sawyer, the brother, also plays. And I think it's important to look. I don't know all the numbers, but looking through the roster of Snider, you see the name Rohrbacher, you see the name Billingsley, you see the names Tittman, and so many names on that list. The two Dodson brothers now. Generations of those names that have gone through Snider that their dads or uncles played and never could win that state title. Now to see Snider do it twice in 8 years with a lot of those names that we recognize from years gone by, it's pretty special. And I think that's just another part of that, family atmosphere that Snider has always talked about as well. And so that's great. Well, from one family and one state champion to another, coach, we'll bring in now another state champion from the Class 2A state champions, Bishop Luers Knights. We're pleased to be joined by Isaac Zay, again, the wide receiver and safety for the program. Isaac, thanks again for joining us this week. Congratulations to you and Bishop Luers on winning another state championship.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Yeah. So we say another, there's 12 all time, but this is the first in, I think, 12 years for Bishop Luers. Talk about this team, what you were able to accomplish in the end, being state champions, and really how you come out of this weekend feeling as you head back to school tomorrow morning as a state champion.
Yeah, it feels good. We actually have a pep assembly tomorrow to honor us, I guess, in front of the whole student body. So, it feels good just to we were there our freshman year, and just know that feeling and losing it. It was awful. And get back there senior year, get the win. It just brought all the seniors out on the right note and not leaving us with that feeling from freshman year.
Well, your guys' defense really, when you look at the tournament in itself, not to say that your offense wasn't as powerful as it normally has been, but defensively, you and Jackson off the edge and the defense as a whole really stepped up big once the tournament hit. And, that's the one thing that I think stood out to me the most. And then finally, playing a complete game on the other night without having the setbacks of penalties, right? The things that were kind of creeping up on you guys during the sectional, regionals, and semi-states. Some of these costly penalties that you guys go out and play a near perfect ball game down there against Posey. Kind of talk about the defense and kind of how all you guys from a group of 11 really kind of started dominating as the tournament went on.
Yeah, that was one of the things Coach Bradley talked to me personally about. He asked me if I wanted to play like an outside linebacker D-line. And I was like, if that was going to help us win, I mean, gosh, I'll do it, man. and then just like succeeding in that position. Like the first week, I'm pretty sure it was East Side week. And like just seeing the stuff, like the impact on the game I was making, it was like kind of crazy to think about. But it also just brought in like other great players. Like we moved Mikhail Woodson back to safety last week. And then our corners, because I'm not at safety anymore, so we had to move Mikhail from corner to safety, which also brought Jalen White and Davion Surrey to play corner there too. So, just putting athletes in the right positions. And, that's one of the big things Coach Bradley talks about as our defense, just put us in the right positions and we'll go make a play. But if we're lined up like back or something like that, it's harder to make a play. But
definitely you and Jackson off the edge caused a lot of problems for a lot of people, especially the games that we even actually called the game there in the couple tournament games where there was no answer for you or him. And the same thing kind of showed its head again on the other night with both of you guys kind of really dominating like you had all through the tournament. But, I know that's a big part of it. Of course, offensively, you guys, really did some nice things again in the game. And we're, really getting it done on the ground pretty good the other night as well. Talk about the run game. I know Gio, he's fast. If you can get him out in space, he's as good as anybody around. And then, of course, Mickey, inside the 5, throw it into his hands. He's going to plow somebody over to go in the end zone. But talk a little bit about the offensive play this past couple weeks.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it until like after the game, but it just like hit me that everyone on our starting offense scored. And I was like, whoa. But then, Mickey got 2 touchdowns, but that was just kind of crazy to think about because we only threw the ball like 5 times maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We were just, and then obviously 3 of those were touchdowns, and it's just like, it was crazy. And then the time of possession, it was like 15 minutes to like however the rest of that they had. It was like because we just kept putting points on the board and let our defense go out and go to work. It was just grinding them down. And then, oh man, really just topped the game off was when Mickey just like ran over 3 people to end the game. It was like, my gosh, dude, like calm down a little bit. We're up like 27 at the time. It was like, come on, Mickey. But the run game, the O-line has improved so much. It's crazy to think about back in like East Noble week, New Haven week, weeks 1 and 2, just how far they've came is just unbelievable, honestly.
One quick question here, dude, and then you can go on get yours in here as well, buddy. There was a Twitter picture I saw, or X, they call it now. I guess I should call it correctly. I believe it was Thursday's practice or Friday's practice, kind of you guys' last practice. And I think you guys were burning stuff. Is that right? Or something? You have a fire going, and kind of talk about that tradition because it sounded like it brought back a lot of memories for different eras talking about that. And this is what kind of we talk about football being a special thing. There's these little traditions that go on here and there that maybe nobody ever hears of, but talk about that tradition that you guys have at every end of every year.
Yeah, and it's only if you go to state. So so every state team, I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday, the day before. So
That dude's got a
every
picture up
senior-
of it, of course.
Every senior is supposed to bring an item to burn into this fire or whatever. Yeah, T right there. He has his shoes he was gonna burn and a hat.
That's a big man right there for everybody. That is a big man. That's a
Yeah.
big human being right there.
He's like 5'11", 450 or something like that.
And he's burning his shoes. I bet there's a reason behind that. But go ahead and keep explaining your tradition here.
But yeah, so just every senior just brings something to burn, and it's just like you get a chance in front of the whole team to just talk about like what the program's meant to you and like just address the team basically. And it's just like a good way to cap the season off too. And like you said, it brings back memories. I had like some play sheets from sophomore year that Coach Bradley used to give us for like scout and whatnot. And then Damian Jackson, he brought so he shaved off all his dreads, and so he brought those to burn. And it was just like it was kind of crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the uniqueness that will last a lifetime, my man. You guys will never forget that day or in the state championship game, and I know that when that picture on X came up, and dude, thanks for having that pulled up there. There was a lot of comments about some guys, older guys, that were talking about that and how much it meant to them. But Duke, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. Well, and back to the game at hand, you guys had that pretty well, in the bag, if you will, in the state championship one pretty early on. But coming out of that, listening to a lot of the sound bites that came out in the last couple of days from a lot of the talk about winning it for Coach Lindsay. Talk about that. Playing for him. Here's a guy who won the state championship as a player, now as a coach. His dad won the state title, so they have that share now as well, Matt Lindsay. But talk about playing for Coach Lindsay and just getting to this point and the satisfaction that comes along with seeing your coach win a state title too.
Yeah, before the year, actually, Coach Lindsay brought up some film from I think it was 2012 year, when Jalen's senior year, when they won state.
Mm-hmm.
And he had like their whole highlight reel going. It was just like kind of crazy to look at and be like, we're playing on the same field. We have the same goal, same everything that they had. And, just to get back to that point, and, he's leading us, so he already knows what he has to do. But just to like emphasize it to us and just get us all on the same journey. And that's really what he did, just to put us all in the same mindset and just get us focused on win a state championship. And that's what we went out there and did.
And for you, a pretty good game. You get a touchdown. What is that like in the state championship? Especially, at that point, it's like you guys are going to win and all that stuff. But to get that, to hit pay dirt at Lucas Oil Stadium, to cross that Indianapolis Colts blue end zone, what is that feeling like for those of us who will never experience that?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like the Colts being my favorite team and all, it was just like Michael Pittman and Josh Downs do this regularly. Like, this is crazy, but yeah, it was just, man, I was like, I didn't know what to do at first. I caught the ball. I just kind of threw my arm up like this. I was like, I just didn't know what to do. And then I just turned around, looked at all the guys, and just started celebrating like we normally do. It was crazy.
Act like you be there.
Too, yeah. Before the game too, me, Cohen, Damian, and T, we all walked out on the field, just kind of took everything in before it all. And, just like we're in this big stadium, crazy. We're seats about to be filled and all this. It's like, oh my goodness. And it's being my favorite team, like I already said, like it was just crazy.
Yeah, you'll never forget it. That's the nice thing about games of that magnitude is that it's a 45-minute game or something to that extent, and but it's a lifetime of memories. And I'm sure that's what Coach Lindsay kind of preached throughout the week about, what what this all will culminate in, irregardless of what happened on the field, is the memories that you guys will take from this and this team specifically. And you alluded to it earlier, your road to the state finals wasn't a rosy, easy walk in the cake, so to speak. You alluded to the fact that East Noble and New Haven kind of, spanked you around a little bit prior, the first 2 games of the season. And then, you guys kind of went about your own way. And I think, dude, you probably, you will, agree with this to that extent, is that here's Luers over here to the side that nobody was really kind of paying attention to. And you guys just kept winning and winning and winning. And next thing you know, it's Homestead. You got a share for the SAC title wrapped up going into that last week. And that's when I think everybody started realizing that, Luers was going to have a legit shot of getting to the state tourney, state finals, and a legit shot at trying to win it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, those first 2 games, it was like a wake-up call, honestly. After East Noble, I think they beat us down pretty good. It was kind of crazy just to, like, the tempo and then, like, the big physical running backs. Like, we weren't prepared for that at all. And that was just kind of crazy to come out and see, honestly. And then East Noble, they just kind of picked us around and stuff like that. Or New Haven, my bad. And they just kind of picked us around, and it was just, it was a wake-up call. And, that really gave us, like, stuff to look on and just see what we had to improve with. And that's really what helped us. And then that win against Wayne, I think in the 3rd week, it just helped. That really helped the confidence go. And, like, after that, Coach Lindsay was like, we're 0-0. After the first 2 games, we're 0-0. And that's what really helped with the Wayne game, and that helped with everyone's confidence after that win too.
Absolutely. Well, Isaac, we appreciate you joining us tonight. One last thing I wanted to show, we talk about the history and remembering this forever. Forever, if you go back to the Luers page and it says final, your team is the state champion, there's your picture. And so, that's something you can go back. You talk about looking at Jalen Smith highlights from 10 years ago. 10 years from now, you can go back and search on the Bishop Luers football Twitter, and there you are, final 40-3, Bishop Luers, your state champions. That's got to be cool. Your senior year as well. Yeah. And we appreciate you being here with us tonight. I know it's been a busy week and busy weekend, and more adulations tomorrow when you guys have the pep rally at school. And we certainly congratulate you and everybody at Bishop Luers. There's a lot of families in that group as well, a lot of generations that have gone through Luers. And, and you guys have won a lot more state titles than Snider has. So, it kind of, it's, I could say that as a Snider grad with a smile on my face, especially since Snider won this weekend also. But I think it's really great to see that both your teams won, but also too, the team that you guys put out there on the field this year and really proved a lot of the doubters wrong, so to speak, but also proved to each and every one of yourselves that you guys could get the job done.
Yeah. Faced a lot of adversity, just feels good to come out on top.
Now, are you playing basketball? Are you going to basketball next? Kind of day off
tomorrow.
Day off and then right into it, right? No. That's the way to do it, my man. That's the way to do it.
I was talking with Coach Coffin after the game. It's our basketball coach. He was like, "Yeah, you actually got to be there every day this week to play Saturday."
That's true.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Got to get your practices in so it counts. Yep. IHSA is watching your every move. Don't get me started. No, but we appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations, and best of luck to you in basketball season, baseball season, and then life after high school when you graduate from Bishop Luers.
Yeah, thank you guys, man.
All right, thank you, Isaac. That was Isaac Zay, the wide receiver and safety for the Bishop Luers Knights, and the face of the picture on the
Yeah, that's right.
Bishop Luers. Hey, and thank you to the photos. The Snider stuff was mine, but the stuff from DeKalb, that was DeKalb High School pictures, and also Bishop
Yeah.
Luers. My friend John Feltz, who does a lot of their social media for them. I've known him for a long time. So great stuff. And that's what it is. It's not just the players and the head coach. And you were a coach for a long time, many different levels. You were a player as well. To find success in a high school program, whether it's one time, whether it's 3 times like Snider or 12 times like Bishop Luers, it takes a lot of work by a lot of people year round, especially anymore.
Well, yeah, and a lot of Snider and Luers got the ultimate explanation point cherry on top by winning the state championship, but there's a lot of programs out there that do the same exact things that both those programs do, and maybe don't get to enjoy that that final game of the season. But you're right, it's year round now for the most part. I mean, that's the nature of the beast that we've gotten to in high school sports. I'm glad to hear like Ethan Dodson and Isaac Zay playing multiple sports, and I encourage anybody that's still out there watching or whatever, if you desire to play more than one sport in high school, do it. I mean, you only have one opportunity. You don't want to look back and say, boy, I wish I would have. But yeah, it's a year-round thing. The weight room is year-round, and then these kids going out to PSM and other opportunities out there to work and continue to work on their technique and things of that magnitude have brought us some really, really good football players and really good football teams here over the last 5 or 6, 7 years because of the amount of repetitions that these kids get to do now, as opposed to 10, 15, 20 years ago when this wasn't heard of, the year-round quote unquote training that's available to these kids now in the Summit City. There's a lot of work. Mom and dad's putting a lot of time in themselves, a lot of mileage in the cars and dollars and cents of it. But yeah, it was a fun weekend and everything like that. Yeah. And I tell you, there's, I think that, looking back and seeing, since this is our quote unquote season wrap type of deal, what were your overall thoughts of this year in general? I mean, because it kind of flew by like it normally does. And then you kind of sit down and reflect about a few things. Kind of what was your general impressions or thoughts on the year?
Well, I think the big takeaway is the new schedule for the SAC, because at the end of the day, they changed it so that some of our SAC and Fort Wayne teams could play the big boys in Indy, and it paid off for 2 of the SAC teams.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first time since 2015 in Snider and Dwenger that 2 teams from the conference won state championships in the same year. It's happened before. It's been a long time, obviously. Obviously, 6A has changed everything in the last 10 years.
Right.
And the success factor has changed things because, oh, by the way, we haven't really talked about this, and this will be our preview show for next year. But Snider is moving up. Luers is moving up. Indianapolis Lutheran is moving up.
Adam Central.
Bishop Luers, Adam Central. So a lot of the teams that we saw at state are moving up. So because
they won state champion.
Pardon?
Is the success the reason why they moved up is because they won a state championship?
Well, there's a certain amount of points, and I think it's 6 points in 2 years.
I still don't understand that stuff.
So long and the short of it is the success factors in place. Snider will move up to 6A. That likely, maybe, perhaps means Northrop moves down to 5A, though. They'll be then. So, like Rump said, is there a 2-team sectional now because Snider is moving up? So there's some things to sort out there. But we're going to see a sectional matchup with Snider and Carroll. We're going to see a potential, now Luers will be back up in 3A and those games that they'll play again. And so that competition will be a little tougher. And that's what you want from the success factor. But it's also kind of funny in the sense that many of the teams that were at the state finals this weekend are all moving up together. So Indianapolis Lutheran and Adam Central are all moving up to 2A. Now, Does that mean they win a 2A state championship next year? I don't know. But does that mean would I be surprised if those two are left standing at semi-state? Not at all. Now, that doesn't I don't know what the personnel will look like for those teams as far as graduation and all that, but that's just off the top of my head. So I think that's important. But yes, the SAC schedule did what it was supposed to. It crowned 2 champions, which really caught us off guard the last week of the season, but also too, it helped Snider, it helped Luers, and it helped a lot of the other schools. Carroll,
Leo. You can put Leo. Leo's season.
Ability. And we don't want to lose credit. Yes, we celebrated Snider state title and Luers state title tonight, but Adams Central, great year, state runner-up 3 years in a row. Leo making it to the semi-state for the first time since 2011. Jason Dorfler and his crew, the staff that they've done, and those players. And there are a lot of great teams and great seasons, and not everybody can win. And I think we have 6 state champions. 2 of them are from Fort Wayne, 2 of them from the SAC. And I think at the end of the day, that's what should be remembered, that what you wanted, what those SAC ADs and principals and schools wanted was how it panned out. And I don't know if this will happen again for a long time, but I think it really bode well, because Snider beating Warren Central in week 1 put a lot of the doubts away. And Bishop Luers, rebounding and going through the B division and winning winning the championship, the SAC really gave them confidence heading in to the postseason. And 40-3 in the state finals. And of course, it's going to heat up again about the private schools and the public schools. That's just part of it. The small schools, the Catholic schools are always going to be small schools. So they're always 1, 2, and 3A Catholic schools. Right. 4, 5. Indianapolis Lutheran and Lutheran School. Parochial schools 1, 2, and 3. Public schools 1, 4, 5, and 6. Right. It is what it is. What's next? They're going to tell people to start redrawing the map in Indiana so Ben Davis and Warren Central don't have to play at sectional. What can you do? It is what it is. And so we find ourselves at the end of the show, Coach, finally, and I think it's been a great year, and I appreciate you doing this again this year. It's been fun going on the road to all the different places, checking in on Sunday nights. We record these on Sundays. They air on Wednesdays. And just getting to know the different kids and different programs and traditions across the SAC and Northeast Indiana football.
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of great kids coming back next year. Brockshot, Scott, he'll have a senior year. Best of luck to Caden Hurst, who had the injury, and hopefully he can get back up in his saddle and get going. Interesting to see what Snider does now, because they're going to be hit by graduation and now losing Uriah Buchanan. Of course, that doesn't mean they'll not have somebody in waiting at tailback there. But a lot of good players in this Northeast Indiana. It's great to see them get recognized. Not only that, but finally maybe putting a little bit of the doubt to bed about Northeast Indiana football and winning this couple state championships that come up this way, because the dominant of Indy that has been seen over the last 3 or 4 years, when you really think about it, down there with the Center Groves and everybody that is involved with that. But at the end of the day, it's been a lot of fun again with you. We'll continue to do this, and hopefully that we are bringing something out there to people that enjoy being a part of it and also listening to what we have to say week in, week out. We do this to the promotion of the kids and the sport we love, of course, being football. Big thanks to all the coaches, all the athletic directors for all the different venues that we go to year in, year out in terms of doing our pregame show with 1380 The Fan. Of course, Pizza Hut and their relationship with 1380 The Fan for the postgame show, which you will continue to probably start doing here with basketball season.
Yeah, you talk about Isaac Zay. Basketball season starts tomorrow. I think I don't quote me. I'd have to check the schedule for 1380, but I haven't even looked at that yet. But basketball right around the corner. Thrilled to do the post-game show every Friday. And now, it takes me about 2 or 3 weeks to get the football. I think last year it was like, Jordan Poole is moving the basketball right down the field, and and I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm mixing my analogies here, but yeah, should be a great basketball season. Wrestling, we got a lot of great wrestlers, and then that leads into the spring with baseball, softball, and like we mentioned tonight too, thanks to DeKalb coaches to show Unified Sports, a lot of great opportunities for kids with special needs out there. Look into it if your kid is needing that, and it's education-based athletics. There's a great example of that in the Special Olympics and Champions Together and Unified programs. So,
well, a couple things here. Remember, even though this is our final wrap-up show, you can like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Got the webpage upon further review, sac.com. Also has all of our shows from that, as well as different shorts that Dudes put together throughout the year. Hey, in the next year, we'll probably look for some sponsorships. If you're interested in sponsoring with us here at Upon Further Review, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Eric. But till next August, my friend, have a great holiday.
Out of time.
Yeah. We'll have a great holiday season. A happy new year to all. From my man, Eric Dukevich, I'm the coach, Shannon Griffith. This has been Upon Further Review. We'll see you next year.